Hey everyone, I'm Tim Derling, and this is Tim's Vinyl Confessions. Thank you so much for watching. Back with another 8-track episode, and this is one I've been working towards for better part of a year, really trying to find all of this particular band's albums on 8-track, and there are a lot of them. I'm talking about one of the longest running heavy bands of all time. They put out an excellent album last year called Equals One. I'm talking, of course, about Deep Purple. Now, yeah, this band, tons of 8-tracks within the the time frame when 8-tracks were to retail. There was one at the end that was very, very hard to find. So we're going to go through the copies that I found of the Deep Purple discography as it exists on 8-track. First Deep Purple album, the first 3 Deep Purple albums were reissued several times. The versions I have all seem to look the same. This is a US copy of Shades of Deep Purple from 1968. And this is on GRT Records. Kind of like that blue color there. Also in 1968, second Deep Purple album, The Book of Taliesin. Really have to get this on vinyl to see all the detail in it. This is also a GRT 8-track version. And the third album, which is self-titled, black and white cover, very strange cover from Bosch, a GRT. Now the next one was issued originally on their first label, Tetragrammaton, which also released the first 3 albums in the US, but the version I have is a Warner Brothers reissue, so it's an early reissue, but it's a reissue nonetheless. The Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Malcolm Arnold. So, this is a very heavy cassette because there's a lot of tape in it. This is a US copy. There you go. Only 1 track break in it, which isn't bad. I like the shape of these ones with the way these taper down. An all-time classic of hard rock and heavy metal. This still sounds good today, 1970s in rock. And this is a Canadian 8-track on Warner Brothers, and this is when they were using that. This looks like an old desk or a wood grain look to it, which I kind of like, but not the easiest thing to read the titles through it, but it's not impossible. So that's that copy. I've seen several variants that look slightly different. Next one, 1971, Fireball. This is a US copy from RCA Music Service, so this looks much different than a US Warner Brothers 8-track would look like. I'll show you one that does, that this would look like if it was a retail. Very small print there. And just the titles and stuff on the back. 1972, several compilations from the Mark I stuff. The first 3 albums were released. And in Canada, Polydor put this one out called Best of Deep Purple with this cover on it. And this is a rather beat up version. It's on Polydor. Better version, you'd be able to see, Best of Deep Purple there, but, this is the one I found. Yeah, Polydor Records Canada. The big Deep Purple album, of course, 1972's Machine Head. A little beat up. Almost looks like someone tried to take this apart to fix it, not sure. You never know what you're going to get with these used 8-tracks. One I found a long time ago in the wild, this is another compilation of Mark I stuff, but this one came out through Warner Brothers. It's called Purple Passages, and it's written really small up here. You kind of have to have the record to see it, but it says Purple Passages. And yeah, a lot of the 8-tracks at this time in Canada had this down the side if they were on Warner, Elektra, or Atlantic. This is one that I have that looks like this. 1973, made in Japan, Canadian Warner Brothers 8-track. I like the yellow they're using here. So now we got a US retail Warner Brothers 8-track to show you, also from 1973. Who do we think we are? This one's got the D cut off of it a little bit, but I knew that when I bought it. And there's the song titles. Now we've got the Mark III Deep Purple coming in with David Coverdale and Glenn Hughes. Canadian 8-track of Burn from 1974, so it's got this down the side of it. And the Purple Records logo here. Not in bad shape, really. And also in 1974, love this album cover, Stormbringer. This is another RCA Music Service edition from the US. Again, with quite small print, and this one's kind of dirty. Weathered, we'll say it's weathered. Probably a little water damage, I would say, is what's going on here, but it's got personality. Compilation that came out in Canada but not in the States, which is kind of unusual because it's on Warner Brothers. 24 Karat Purple. This band obviously had a lot of compilations, but this is a Canadian 8-track of that. And really, really nice copy of this next one from 1975, the Mark IV lineup, Tommy Bolin. Come Taste the Band. This has a slipcase, so underneath this has no artwork. I call this a naked 8-track. The slipcase is in really good shape. It's actually, if you can see that, it's kind of glossy. So whoever had this over the years kept really, really good shape of it. You never know what you're going to get. But yeah, whoever kept this took good care of it. And that's the last of studio albums for a while, but there's still lots to talk about. 1976, another live album made in Europe. Someone with the initial T, not me, put their initial on this. This is a US RCA Music Service card. By now the printing's a little bigger, so it's got the Warner Brothers and the Purple Records logo. The Stereo 8, the way that's written, that's how RCA did all of their 8-tracks, whether they were retail or whether they were Record Club. Again, this looks like it's got some water damage on it, but that's all right. Yet another compilation, probably my favorite for artwork, 1978. When We Rock, We Rock, and When We Roll, We Roll. This is a Canadian version. That's a long title to put on there. Yeah, really like this one. This one pretty much covers all the eras except the Come Taste the Band lineup. 1980, still a very popular compilation. You can still find this one in stores on CD. Deepest Purple, the very best of Deep Purple. US on Warner Brothers. And that would be it for the Deep Purple retail ones. I got one more to show you. Was very, very happy to find this. 1984's comeback album, Perfect Strangers. This is a sealed copy. It's US. It's on Mercury, but this is an RCA Music Service edition of Perfect Strangers. And yeah, I was very excited to add this to the collection. Pretty weird, eh? Having these albums that came out in the mid-'80s and beyond. If you're interested in that and you don't already have it, I would highly recommend checking out on Amazon. I'll have the link below. My very first book, Unspooled, an adventure in 8-tracks, talks a lot about these ones that the record clubs put out after they stopped putting them out in stores. And there's a lot more to this as well. Forward by Martin Popoff. Yeah, highly recommend it if you're looking for a coffee table book, or if you're looking for a coffee table book for a music fan and you don't know what to get them. I'd suggest this. So, Deep Purple. Got any Deep Purple fans? I'd love to see variants of your Deep Purple 8-tracks. If you're watching this and can comment on either Facebook or X, and you can post pictures. Would love to see what you've got for Deep Purple 8-tracks. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll see you again on Tim's Final Confessions.